All right, so just to recap, I know you guys care about energy efficiency, obviously getting a lot of draft. And I'm your first quote, so you've never done this before. So if you give me like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, I'm just going to bring you through uh, the world of Windows. I'll try to make you a mini window expert. That way, no matter who you meet with, you'll be able to make a smart decision you never get taken advantage of. Sound fair? All right, so start off. I just want to tell you a little bit about who we are and who you'd be working with, just to give you a face of who you'd be doing business with. So I'm not the owner. This is John. John's been doing this for a little over 30 years. He's a third generation expert. So basically, his father's father was in the industry, his father was in the industry, and then now John. In that time, in the last 15 years, we've been open. We've installed a little over 10,000 families across New York and New Jersey. We won a whole bunch of prestigious awards, such as Top 500, Big 50. All that really means for you is we're like a top 2% of contractors in the industry. Just like, State Farm, you're in good hands with us. As far as locations, we're not just working out of John's truck. We do have physical locations. We have our warehouse over in South Amboy. We have a Summit showroom, Staten Island showroom, and then we have one coming soon in Red Bank. So we're local in the area. You always know where to find us. Big thing about us, so what really makes this different, and John preaches this to us every single day, is we want to deliver 100% satisfaction on every job we do from start to finish, right? And John realized the only way you can do that is by getting a product that matches that mission. So John's been doing this for, like I said, over 30 years, his whole life. He's been an installer for Lowe's, for, Home Depot, for Renewal by Anderson, Marvin, Pella. He got to see kind of the good, the bad, the ugly of the entire industry. And when he started the Men with Tools, he wanted to come to market with something that was different, something that could match that mission. So he went to the best manufacturers in the country, and he basically asked them to help him produce a more energy efficient, affordable, and sleek window, something that was better than what was on the market, that solved the problems that he was seeing. They finally came back to him with our exclusive Thermalast window. To date, we've installed a little over 44,000 units in New York and New Jersey. So by no means would you be the first person to be, working with us. As far as reviews, I know you said that you found us on Google. A lot of my customers find us on Google, or like it's a friend or family that has referred them to us. We have 5 stars across the board, no matter which location you check. Even if you go to my Better Business Bureau page, not only do we have a 5-star rating, but we're also A+ rated. In our entire time in business, we've had 0 complaints. Now, by no means does that mean that we're perfect, but if something goes wrong, we're perfectly accountable, meaning that we'll always fix it, right? And then here's a whole bunch of reviews. Like, you can obviously take the time to go read them online. We've done work pretty much in every single location that you can imagine. This is just the homes that we did in the last, I would say, probably 3 years, so not even our entire time. But you can see there's pretty much no place in New Jersey or Staten Island where we haven't been or haven't worked with somebody. But unfortunately, that's not the case for everybody. Over 70% of complaints filed with the Better Business Bureau are home improvement related. Why do you think that is? Edgar?
Not sure, subcontract.
Yeah, so exactly. So I know before you told me that you had your kitchen done, and you kind of had a little bit of the runaround of getting the guy to come back to fix it. After a few months, eventually he did fix a little bit of it, but you kind of had that distaste and dissatisfaction with that company. A lot of people, when they go to the BBB, it's because they feel like they weren't getting the help they needed from the actual company they're working with. So some things that we've seen is post-sale dissatisfaction. Something goes wrong, nobody comes back and fixes it. There's lawsuits and complaints. So, the worst case that I've seen is I went to a home where I was the second quote coming in after she already agreed to work with another contractor. She gave that contractor a $60,000 deposit, and then he literally never came back and did the work. I've also seen that happen multiple times throughout my career. Even bankruptcies and closings. I've literally seen a gentleman who told me that he gave a company $20,000 for windows. Company was out of business, tried to chase him down, report him to BBB, and the guy was pretty much out of state. So he's out of luck. He had to redo all the windows.
Wow.
Now, the reason why that happens is because it's not that like everybody's like a bad guy. It's pretty much like a root cause. So the industry is, for the most part, pretty much broken up like this. Everybody kind of wants to point blame at each other. So like you might have a company come and they tell you like, oh yeah, we're gonna do the windows, everything's gonna be great. You decide to work with them. What you don't know on the back end is really they're going to like a big box store, like a Home Depot or Lowe's, or just ordering the windows from wherever. Then they're going and they're getting a subcontractor to then install the work. So like company A, who you think you're working with, is really subbing out the work to company B, and then they're buying whatever material. So when something goes wrong and you call in and you're like, hey, my window's leaking water, or why is there a delay on the installation? What's going on? Or when is this going to happen? And then everybody's kind of pointing fingers, is because you're not really working with one company, you're working with three separate ones. Now, the question is why do most companies use subcontractors in the industry? Just point blank, it's just cheaper. Like if you owned a window and door company and you were going to go out on your own, it's cheaper for you to get other people that are employees of you. You don't have to pay any, insurance or like weekly pay. You can pretty much pay them as you need them on the project. Now, the things that go wrong when you use subcontractors unfortunately affect the outcome for you. So like, John's been doing this a long time. He shot some videos just to kind of give you an idea of some of the stuff that he saw. Like this is a window that was a stock size window from like a big box store, like Home Depot or Lowe's. They put it in, it was too small. And then the customer had called us because they were complaining about drafts from all their windows from somebody who had installed the windows 5 years prior. So we came out, customer agreed to work with us. We start pulling off the stop moldings and we see like all of this is too short for the opening and none of it was insulated. It was literally left open. The other things that go wrong is like, this is the caulk that we use on the outside. We always use a Quad Max sealant, silicone sealant. This stuff goes on the exterior. It's good for 30 years. It costs about $10 a tube. Most guys will just use like a caulk, which is meant for like an interior, right? It's DAP. This stuff's like $2.50 a tube. The problem with this is this lasts for like 2 years. This lasts for 30. But most subcontractors will use this because it's just a fifth of the price, right? When it comes to screws, we always use galvanized screws, never sheetrock screws. The issue with sheetrock screws is they rust. The price difference is why most people lean towards sheetrock versus galvanized. Galvanized will make sure the windows stay secure for life. $17 a tube. You can spend $7, get the same thing done, but unfortunately, it's going to start rusting out after 2 years and then eventually, start failing. We always insulate the whole rough opening. We never leave it hollow. We spend about $13 a window to have it insulated. Most companies would just leave it hollow, unfortunately, because you don't know how to install the window. They take advantage of that. On average, for a window about your kitchen size of 36 by 50, we'll spend about $50 per window to have it insulated, where most of our competitors or most people in the industry are going to spend as little as $5 to do that same window, which is why most people have a 1 or a 2 year labor warranty, because most windows start failing after that time period, and then they're off the hook. The result, obviously you're going to get rotted frames. If it's not secure, it's not insulated, water leaks in, it affects the opening. A lot of subs, they'll pretty much just install a brand new window onto a rotted frame, which eventually you end up having to replace 2-3 years down the line. In bad situations where there's not drip caps put on, which I'll show you later, or things aren't insulated correctly or capped correctly, you'll get water inside of the rough opening. That water leaks down, it rots out the bottom of the frame, and then eventually it goes into the framing of your walls. Then you end up having to replace it all. So this is just straight up pictures from John's life that he's seen. Obviously, water leads to mold. So like there's been like situations where we're trying to do a job and the customer actually needs mold remediation because of someone at their prior job that leaked into the home that bad. Obviously affects the inside. This is a bay window. What's missing on this bay window is the roof and the cable supports. Customer called us out. They had paid thousands of dollars for this bay window to be installed about 6 years prior to us coming out. We come out, we're the first people they see. Since then, obviously they're complaining about the other person. The other person was out of business. They didn't want to service it. Basically, they just installed it without all the proper stuff. Their daughter wants to go sit on the bay window. As she's sitting on it, the bay window comes out, collapses down a bit. Thankfully she didn't get hurt, but we pretty much had to redo the whole project and then, get it done correctly. And then this is just more mold on the inside. This guy, they literally saw a wire, installed the window, tucked back in the wire underneath the siding, and then it caused a fire a couple of years later. So it's just like poor negligence. But when you're only on the hook for that day as a subcontractor, you're literally paid for the day. Something that happens years later doesn't really affect you, which is what John didn't want. When we do work as a company, we do it different. With me, you're just working with one company, one solution. So we're all underneath one umbrella. Not only are we the guys that come out and sell it to you, we're the same company that installs it. It's the same company that services it. And then all of our warranties are covered for life. So like all of our guys are certified with our material. Our guys are paid by the hour, not by the day. The difference for you is that they're going to work till it's completed and done the right way. John holds all of our installers accountable to service calls. So like we don't want to come out because we did a bad job. We want to make sure it's perfect and that you're 100% satisfied every single time. As far as license and insurance, all of our guys are criminal background checked. If we wouldn't trust them in our home, we wouldn't trust them in yours. We're licensed and insured in New York and New Jersey. And we have workers' comp and auto liability insurance. Just peace of mind. I used to not think much about this, but like imagine if our crew was working and I don't know, like they're on the second floor, one of them falls off a ladder, or like one of the framing on the windows fall out. In the event that you're working with a contractor that's not licensed and insured, you would be held liable by the state for the medical damages and things that wouldn't be incurred. With us, it's on us. We're properly insured. We'll take care of it, right? So God forbid that doesn't happen, but if it does, you're covered. Communication. A lot of customers complain about being left in the dark. We let you know every single step of the way when our guys are coming, what's going on, where the material is, up until the day of the order. We even have an app where you can basically put in any service requests you need after install. You can also refer customers. So like as a thank you, we pay $350 a referral fee. So like we're open for you sharing us. And then we even have a personal concierge. So like if anything goes wrong and you can't reach me for whatever reason, Teresa is our concierge. We have a whole department dedicated just to the success and the satisfaction of our customers. So John really took his mission of delivering 100% satisfaction to heart, going above and beyond before and after install. But now that you kind of know a little bit about us, I want to go into the meat and potatoes and tell you a little bit about the energy efficiency. So, John has a saying, it's quite literally possible to uninstall an old drafty window with a new drafty window. It happens more than you think. In fact, it happens every single day. The reason why is because most people don't even know what goes into a window. So there's three main ways that your windows lose energy. Through the glass, through the frame, and through air leakage. So the first way I'm going to talk about is through the glass, because 80% of your window is made out of glass. So how important do you think it is? At least 80%, right? So I'm going to show you how to read these labels so you understand. That way, whether you're doing business with me or another company you can never take advantage of. Have you ever seen these labels on a window before?
No.
All right. So these labels, they come from the NFRC. The NFRC is the National Fenestration Rating Council. So if you understand how to read this, you'll understand how to read exterior doors, roofing, anything that deals with insulating your home on the exterior, basically. Okay. Now, what we're looking for and kind of who sets the bar of the standard, so the NFRC rates them. The people who set the bar are the Energy Star team, right? So ideally, you would like your window to be Energy Star approved. It doesn't have to be, but that would be the goal, because if you want to save money in your energy bill, the better it is, the more money you're going to keep in your pocket, basically, because the more heat it's going to stay in the house and the more heat's going to stay out of the house. Winter, heat in. Summer, stay out. When you read those labels, you're looking at two numbers to be Energy Star approved. Now, every climate has a different requirement. Like the northern climate, really, really cold. The southern climate, really, really hot. We happen to be in the north central, where we deal with a little bit of both. Now, if we want to be Energy Star approved where we live, we're looking to have our U factor be at least a 0.25 and our solar heat gain coefficient to be at least a 0.40. The lower these numbers get, the better it is. So U factor measures how energy efficient the window is at keeping heat inside your home in the winter. So the minimum requirement is 0.25. The lower, the better. Now, as you can see, our window not only meets that standard, but even exceeds it. We're coming at a 0.24. Now, solar heat gain coefficient is for the summer. So the lower that number is, the less hot it's going to be in your house, the less your AC is trying to keep the heat out and fighting, right? So if you ever stand in front of a really hot window, the sun's beating on you, it's because you have bad solar heat gain coefficient. Now our windows come to 0.21. The minimum requirement is 0.40, right? Now, unfortunately, there's a big secret in the industry. Not every window is Energy Star approved. It's not like you're going to go to jail if your windows aren't Energy Star approved. It's not, you'd be in custody right now, right? So John knew this kind of going into the industry, which is why he wanted to do something that was better, because he saw a lot of people were putting in really expensive windows and they weren't even getting the value that they thought they were paying for. So like this is Renewal by Anderson, for example. The U factor is a 0.35 and the solar heat gain coefficient is a 0.32. Renewal by Anderson will charge you as much as $3,800 a window, meaning if like you were getting, I know I'm looking at 10 windows in your home. If you're getting 10 windows from them, they would charge you as much as $38,000. I kid you not, for those 10 windows, and they wouldn't even be Energy Star approved. Now, the gap between us and them on energy efficiency, just between these numbers, we're 59% more energy efficient in the winter, and we're 60% more energy efficient in the summer, right? And he looked at the same thing with Pella. This is a Pella 250 series window. So you can see over here, it's a 0.28 and a 0.51 solar heat gain coefficient. They'll charge you as much as $2,500 per window. So you spend like a nice $25,000 for a non-certified Energy Star approved window. This is low end. It's a 0.30, 0.55. We're going to be at 0.24, 0.21. We're 36% more energy efficient in the winter, 175% more energy efficient in the summer, and they'll charge you as much as like $13,000 for non-certified Energy Star approved windows. This is Lowe's. They sell a Simonton window. Simonton is like their high-end window, so even with one of their best windows, they're not Energy Star approved. Now I know that's a lot to take in, like analytically. I'm a little bit more visual. What I want to do is just show you visually what I mean. So this is probably the most exciting part. Let me show you. All right, so Mr. and Mrs. Customer, just don't take my word for it. Let me show you. So this is my heat lamp. So I want you to think about this as like our constant source. And then what this is a BTU meter. So whenever heat hits that little white dot, it goes off. So right now it's 0, all right? If I put it over here, it's going to read in British thermal units, which is BTUs. So I'm just going to change the percentages so we all understand. So 100% of the heat is hitting that little white dot. If I put my hand here, my hand's made out of blood, flesh, bone, skin. I'm obviously going to act as a natural insulant. So it's going to go down to like 6, right? So what you have in your home is more so like a typical insulated or, basically a builder grade window. It's basically 2 pieces of glass with a little bit of insulation. So when we walked around before, the reason why your energy bills are, I guess, higher than you'd like is most of the time your gas leaks out or there wasn't any in it to begin with. So as you see when we test it, about 60% of the energy is coming through, which means 60% of the energy is leaving, right? So obviously John didn't think that was a good idea to put a builder grade window in with an old builder grade window. So as you upgrade, so what 90% of my competitors are going to show you is they're going to show you a window with low E on it. So if you look though at the windows, do you see the difference? No, not really, right? Because it's just like a window. But when you test it, because this one has low E and also some gas in it, it's going to go all the way down from like almost 60 down to like 50. So much more energy efficient. It's about 10% increase. But most of the competitors are going to charge you maybe an extra $200 to $400 a window. So John didn't think that was really worth it for like that slight boost. But you will see maybe a $20 a month reduction in your bill, or 40 depending on how expensive your bill is. So the upgrade of that, what can get more energy efficient, is a triple pane window. So Mr. Customer, I just want to show you if you can kind of hold it. Do you feel like the weight difference?
Yes.
So the difference between this one and this one is this has 3 layers of glass. There's more gas in it. It's also more energy efficient, right? So like instead of being at like 60, you go into the 50s, and then now you're all the way in like 36. So it becomes more energy efficient, but the problem is that because you have a lot of balance systems, right, moving up and down, this wears in the balance systems faster, so shorter warranty life, and the second thing is it's just much more expensive, right? So John didn't want to use a triple pane, so then he thought, well, what could be more insulated than 3 pieces of glass, right? The wall, right? So like your wall has like, fully insulated, right? So John was like, what if we create a window that's so smart that it thinks it's a wall, right? And we tested it, and it comes all the way down to about a 4. So you get maximum energy efficiency, meaning all the energy is staying in the house, none of it's leaving, and then none of it is coming in, so your energy bills stay low. The negative is that like you can't see, right? So like the guys loved it, but the wives they weren't a big fan, and they couldn't see out the window. So I figured, well, what if I was to take, because I want something that's energy efficient at that, and the manufacturers were like, well, what if we put all 7 units of glass together, right? So now it's at a 14, so you can see through the window, but the problem is that if a triple pane was expensive, the price tag on this came back much more expensive. And it obviously wasn't ideal to balance systems, right? So the question was how do we get something so energy efficient that's basically 2 pieces of glass, so it's light, but it can help maximize everything and also make it affordable. So that's when John, the manufacturers came back to him with the Thermalast window. So this is our exclusive window. It's made with Omega 12 glass package. It's 4 layers low E, max argon fill, and then when they tested it, you can get your window all the way down to basically 0, right? And what that means is that you're going to keep all the energy in. So like in the winter and the summer, your energy bills are going to be much lower, and then you're also going to keep all the energy out. So like when we talk about energy efficiency in the labels, that's what that actually means. Does that make sense, Mr. Customer?
Yes.
All right. Do you have any questions? All right, cool. And you can even kind of feel it for yourself. If you put your hand over here, you feel how this it's cold to touch, and all the heat stays out. Versus if you were to take like maybe like what's the most common window that I'm replacing, which is just a typical insulated. And you put your hand there.
Oh yeah.
You see, but that's kind of like what yours feels like in the summer. All right, then that's it. So do you have any questions? Does that make sense? How the glass works and everything? All right, perfect. So now I'm going to show you the other way that your window can lose energy, which is really through the frame. So when John was making the window, he realized that most people's windows they're literally like this. It's just a recycled vinyl frame that's typically mechanically fastened. So you see how this window has screws in it over here? Most window frames, like if I go to your house right now, you pretty much have your window and you have your piece of glass and it's sitting in the frame kind of just like this, right? Now, what happens over time is these frames, they bend and they bow as everything moves and settles with the house. And when that bending and bowing is hitting against this glass, it creates seal failure. So then your gas leaks out and you have an uninsulated window and you end up quite literally with the first glass that I showed you all over again. And on top of that, all the frames are going to be hollow. So there's not going to be any insulation in it. So like your walls in your home, you would hope, have insulation, and that's what keeps the heat in and the heat out, right? So John wanted a better frame to go along with this window. So with our Thermalast window, our entire frame, if you notice, we don't use any screws. So it's all mechanically, or it's fusion welded together. So like it doesn't move, right, with the home. So you're never going to have the glass have seal failure. And on top of that, what he does is there's little spacers over here. So like even if you were to have a little bit of movement in the frame, those spacers prevent any of the movement from creating seal failure. So that way your gas never leaks out. Then this window, right, can kind of sit here inside your frame. And then he has it fully insulated all the way around the unit. So that way nothing comes in, nothing goes out, right? Now, the way that you rate this insulation is through R value. So this is the one number where everything I've taught you up to this point, everything goes lower is better. This one higher is better. R value in our windows and R value of R21. Basically, what that means is like your wall for perspective is an R13 or R15. So that's what it needs to be, I guess, Energy Star rated, approved by code. So that way you can keep all your heat inside, heat out. We're not only more energy efficient than that, but we have something in common with your house. You know what that is? No. So it's actually your fridge. So just like how your fridge keeps your food fresh, John used the same thing inside of our frame to keep your home nice and cool. So that way we can help bring down the energy bills versus bring them up, no matter what season we're in. That make sense?
Yeah.
All right. And then the last way is through the drafts. So the NFRC measures for drafts. The way that they measure for drafts is through air leakage rating. So on those labels, you'll see something called air infiltration rating, right? You basically want to make sure that your window's not drafty. So like on a windy day when you see your curtains move, the reason why is partially could be installation, like how I showed you in that first video where there's like gaps in the openings. The way it happens in the product is the way that this is sealed in around the glass over here. So what the NFRC does is they blow 25-mile-per-hour winds at the window, and they're measuring how much air is leaking in, and that measurement is in cubic feet per minute. Now, to make that easy to understand, John just drew some pictures of walls with bricks missing. So, like, most people's windows that we're replacing on a really windy day, on a 25-mile-per-hour wind day, it feels as if, like, 10 to 13 bricks are removed from the entire window. Like, you're really going to see the blinds move. Now, on a little bit better window, but still an older window, it's going to feel as if there's just 6.5 bricks removed. When it gets to the industry standard, it's still going to feel on a windy day that like as if 4 bricks are removed. So like think about all that air that you're losing, all that air that's going. Like that's how much energy is lost all the time. With us, when they did the test with us, we came in at a point 23. We're 30% more energy efficient than the energy and then the energy standard of 0.30. So like with us, you're not going to lose any energy. You're not going to get any drafts. Does that make sense? Right?
Yeah.
So that's really the meat and potatoes of Windows. Oh, this is so that's how people uninstall an old drafty window with a new drafty window. So I'm just going to go through the different features that are in the window. So, John really wanted our window to be aesthetically appealing. So 27%, we offer 27% more viewing area when compared to like a wood window, like a Renewal by Anderson. Basically, our frame is made thinner. The reason why our frame is thinner is because he reinforces it, which I'll show you. With a wood window, they rely on wood to hold the integrity of the home, so they need a thicker frame. So you're always going to have a thinner frame, more glass. So if you like pretty stuff, we'll help you. The window is going to have more contoured edges, so it's just going to look pretty, right? Versus just flat and boring. We use a block and tackle balance system. So all that means is like how your windows go up and down. I'll show you over here. What we use to make your windows go up and down is this block and tackle. This thing lasts for up to 40,000 cycles. So like I could open and close your window because the cycle is 1, 2. So basically 20,000 times before this thing would fail or break. Most people use a constant force balance system, which is kind of like a measuring tape. You open and close the window as little as, 2,500 times because 5,000 cycles, 2,500 times. And then that's why a lot of your windows in your home are like guillotine windows, or they're hard to open and close because those things fail. We're always going to use a virgin vinyl frame, never recycled vinyl. So all that means is this vinyl is brand new. It's first generation. It's never been used before. If you use a recycled vinyl, as you can see the gap over here, this kind of starts peeling and corroding and kind of loses that white touch or the allure. This will fade out. And in about 2 to 5 years, this will never fade out, right? It's also more durable. On our windows, John has it ordered standard with self-cleaning glass. So on the outside of my windows, when it rains, the heat will literally just clean your glass for you. You never have to wipe it down. With their windows, unfortunately, you're going to have to tilt them in, wipe it down, do some power washing. We offer low-profile locks in our windows, and they're camera picked. So all that means is you're never going to get a bulky lock. It's like this. So that way, it just looks neater. That's all. Right? And it's camera recessed, so you can't just pick it open. And then all of our frames are reinforced with fiber core reinforcement. So like this over here, right? You're never going to have a hollow frame. This standard window is going to have a hollow frame. After a while, it starts bending and bowing. That's why you see the kind of windows with like, with the frown faces, right? Or start to sag or smiling at you. The reason why is because it starts bending or bowing over time, right? Which is why I'm sure you're kind of starting to see why people put limitations on their warranties, because they kind of expect this to happen. With our windows, you're always going to have multiple weather strips put on them. So like you can see my frame over here. There's weather strips over here. If I have my window with me, you can see all the strips. And then all those strips have antibacterial properties. All that means is John puts like zinc or silver on them so that way you get less pollen coming in. So if you have a lot of allergies, that's why he made it. With most competitors, there's going to put 1 or 2. Or no strips at all and no antibacterial properties. Now for a moment, I just want you to put price aside. Now you go styles and options. And I just want to show you some options that might be available that could, appease you, or, something that you might want to do. So our windows, they don't have to come white. If you want, there's different wood grain options. You could put textures to them, right? Different colors. If there's anything that stands out to you, just stop me and just let me know. Okay, so this is colors. All right. Then there's hardware options. So like the standard hardware, it's come like this. It'll be white. If you want, I could change it. Grids, obviously standard window, no grids. If you want, I could put grids between the glass, so inside the glass, or I can put them on the exterior. And then I can make them however you want them. Here's some examples. So you can see, like, I can do A, B, C, D, one of those. Your screens, they're all going to come standard with OptiView screens. All that means thinner mesh, so you can see through the screen clearer and easier. And all of my screens are also come with lifetime warranty screen rips. So like, if the screens ever rip, it's covered. Moldings, if you want to do moldings, I have molding options. I know for your home we're doing pocket. If we were doing moldings, any one of these we can talk about. And then here's some examples if we're doing moldings to kind of show you the different textures and styles that are available. And then lastly is installation. So are you familiar with the difference between a pocket or a full frame install? If not, I'll tell you real quick.
Don't know what it is yet.
My most common install is a pocket. So like on the left is a pocket installation. All that means is I'm going to reuse your existing frame. Now, the reason why the pocket has less glass than the full frame is when I do a pocket install, I have to reuse your frame. Typically what that means is you're going to lose about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch on each side of your window. And that's like standard. Like that's with me, that's with anybody, and we're like really good at what we do. So we'll probably be 1/8 of an inch. People that are real bad at it, you might lose as much as 1/2 inch on every window, or on each side. So technically, 2 inches. If you do a full frame, I can dictate the opening size, so I can give you more glass, right? Or I can guarantee the same amount. Now, pocket, this is the frame of your window. So if I pulled off your moldings, that's what we would see. A pocket install is the most common installation. So like if you got it installed by me or, my competitor, 90% of the people that you meet are going to offer you only a pocket. They don't even have the people that can do a full frame. Pockets are cheaper. I recommend a pocket for most of your home because I don't need to do a full frame. Now, if you want, we can do a full frame on some of the windows or all of them if you really want to do that. But what I'll tell you is a full frame is double the cost of a pocket. So like if you were going to spend $1,000 on a pocket, a full frame would be $2,000. If you were going to spend $2,000 on a pocket, a full frame would be like $4,000, right? The reason why, double the amount of labor, double the amount of material. I literally rip open all of the window. I gut it down to the rough opening. I rebuild it all. Then I put in the new window. I do all the exteriors, the outside, and then you get brand new molding on it. If I'm doing pocket, we're going to reuse your molding, okay? Now, like this is an example of all the structural things that we fix. Like a full frame's good, but it can get very expensive. Like your house has 10 windows. So imagine if like the project just doubled on you. Like it'd be a little bit aggressive, right? So you might just want to pick the windows wisely if you want me to do full frame. So before I continue, do you guys want to do pocket or full frame? And if you want to do full frame on everything or just some of the house?
I think full frame on some of the house.
Okay, which rooms?
My kid's bedroom and my bedroom.
Okay, got it. So kid's bedroom and your bedroom and the rest is pocket. Why your kid? You just feel like you just want
That's
the
the draftiest window.
ease of mind?
No, that's the draftiest window.
Okay.
Ease of mind for mine.
Okay, so we can do that. We'll price it and we'll see. Patio doors. If we're doing a patio door, our patio doors come with 3-point lock, right? That's like the standard. John wanted it to be really secure. Most people's patio doors are going to come with a single point lock, just one lock. All of our patio doors have heavy-duty rollers. They roll from the top. Most patio doors are going to use cheap plastic rollers, which is why the glass literally slides off the track sometimes, and it's like kind of like loose. We use top hung screens, never bottom hung screens. What that means is the screen itself won't fall off the track. Ours are like built into the top, so it just rolls easier. Okay, and then all of our patio doors, just like our windows, come with self-cleaning glass, standard. So the glass cleans itself on the outside. And then we can do all the color options like I mentioned before, as well as grid options and even screen options. Now, a window, you can have the best window in the world, but if it's not installed right, it doesn't really matter. So with that being said, John takes great pride in the installation system that we offer. So on the install, you're always going to have a crew lead. Our crew leads have at least 20 plus years of experience just installing windows and doors. All of the employees or the installers that we hire have to have at least 2+ years of experience installing windows and doors to even be on the team. So like we never have like a novice or a new guy coming out to install your window. Combined, we have a little over, I want to say, you know, it's even more now. It's probably closer to like 150 years of experience between like our entire team installing. So there's never something they haven't seen. On top of that, all of our crew leads get master certified. All that means is they go to like the window and door golden standard certification, and they get recertified every 2 years just to make sure they meet up to standards. There's never anything they missed. And then they're Thermalast certified, meaning they're manufacturer certified. So you're getting manufacturer certified installation. Then on top of that, John has them trained his way. So this is his 60-step installation system. So I'm not going to show you all the steps because, you know, I don't want to put you to sleep, but I also don't want to give you all the trade secrets. So step number 7, we're going to make sure we have all the windows. All the windows are going to come with the stickers, so you're going to know exactly what you're getting. There's no trickery, right? All the windows are going to be measured, so like I'm good at measuring, but you don't want to trust me from ordering, so we're going to come back one more time. Just measure. We're going to place drop cloths everywhere, inside, outside, hallway, stairs. The goal of the guys is to leave the house cleaner than what they found it, all right? We're going to make sure everything's square level plumb. The crew will wait for the crew lead to give them his thumbs up of approval before they're going to start installing. And then we're going to check for water damage and termite damage. In the event we find it, we'll just charge you for it. I'm just kidding. You know, it's included in the service. So like, we never want to surprise you. If there is any additional wood rot, because me and you don't have x-ray vision, we're just going to take care of it and cover it. We'll shim it, so we make it nice and tight. We screw it in every 4 to 6 inches with the galvanized screws, and then we insulate the whole outside. Drip caps go on top. That way no water flows in. This makes sure that way this doesn't happen, like I showed you before. This is probably the most common misstep because most people, they learn how to install from like, you know, a YouTube video. With us, all of our guys are certified professionals. And then we spray it down, sweep, haul everything away. And then 2 weeks after install, John comes back just to check the work, or a production lead. If there's anything off, we fix it. And then 1 year later, we'll also offer an anniversary inspection. Every year, as long as you live here, you get an email. If you want, we'll come back and check the work for free. There's no charge. So when I mean that we're in it for life, you know, we truly mean it. If we're doing a bay or bow, cable supports, like I showed you before, most people don't put that. That's why if you ever go around, you see little stilts underneath people's bay windows because it's literally falling out the window. And then we always insulate the bay windows. So like this is a bay example. This is insulation that goes on the bottom. Then you have your cabinet over here, and then this can be stained. Most people, when they give you your bay, they don't have this. So what ends up happening is this over time absorbs the moisture, it starts rotting out, and then you start getting drafts out. This helps prevent that from happening. Make sense? Warranty. So there's 2 parties that warranty everything. There's the manufacturer, and then there's the labor. With us, because of the way we do it, we're all one company, all of our employees, we honor the labor for life. Most people, they're going to give you a 2-year labor installation or a 1 year. So what that means is that they're quite literally telling you, we're only confident that this will last 2 years. And you're going to spend a lot of money. Or we're only confident it's going to last 1 year. And don't be fooled by authorized, installers. That's just a fancy word for subcontractors. If you ever see that. And then John puts a joke, you know, some guys will give you what he calls a taillight warranty. So when they install the thing and you see the taillight leaving the driveway, that was the warranty. It's gone for good, right? Material's the same thing. We give you life on everything, on moving parts, glass breakage, seal failure, you name it. Like, so if this goes, windows stop opening, all that's covered. Even if like your wife gets mad at you, Edgar, and like you dodge it, the brick goes through the glass, we might have some questions, but like we'll still replace it. The 3rd time we'll be like, all right, there's something going on here, we'll still replace it. The 4th time, all right, Edgar, gotta relax. Most companies will give you 10 or 20. It's kind of the same thing. Like they're basically telling you, hey, my thing's gonna last for 10 years or 20 years, right? And then other guys, if they're not certified at all, you got a taillight warranty. Now, even some companies will tell you they have a lifetime limited warranty. Now, the key word to listen there is the limited part. So, like, John has a joke. He says that the the bold print is written by the salespeople. So, like, lifetime, really small, limited, really big warranty, right? And the fine print is written by the attorneys. So when you read the fine print of most people's things, like, for example, this is like a renewal by Anderson warranty over here. They talk about the transferring of the limited warranty on the FiberX material. So, like, it already starts coming up in the fine print, even though the salesperson might say it's a lifetime limited warranty, right? And then what you see over here is that you can spend spend the $3,800 a window like I showed you, and they pretty much say that you can transfer this warranty within 20 years, and then you get a 10-year on the labor. So you're going to spend that much money, and it's a limited warranty on the transfer, and you don't even get a labor warranty for life. It's only good for a certain period of time. And there's tons of exclusions. This is Pella, which is even worse. So Pella gives you a 2-year labor warranty if it was certified. So you're going to spend as much as $2,500 to $3,000 a window, and you're going to get a 2-year labor warranty. And Pella, what's crazy over here is Pella, in their warranty card, if you read the fine print, it says Pella makes no warranty regarding the rate of dissipation of argon or the remaining amount of argon in the window at any time after manufacture. So what that means is I could literally go and install your home with Pella windows and be certified, right? So I'm supposed to know what I'm doing. Then you can call me a week later, say, hey, all these windows don't have any gas in it. I put the heat lamp to them. All the heat's coming in. And then I can call Pella, and Pella says, well, sorry, in our fine print, there's no warranty on that. That's 100% on you. So then I tell you to call Pella, and what does Pella do? Oh, you got to talk to the installer. And you end up in the whole game, right? John didn't want to be part of that, which is why, with us, it was very important to him to get this with our manufacturer. Our warranty page is one page. We have no loopholes, no exclusions. You never have to worry about anything. We're so confident in our window that we etch the serial number into every window. And that's how confident we are in our warranty. Most companies, they just put a sticker. They either rip it off on day of install, or it falls off and fades away. You try to get a warranty. You say, hey, I need to fix my windows. Hey, oh, what's the warranty? You say, I don't know. It's on the sticker. Okay, I don't see the sticker. Oh, I don't know. You have to call the installer, right? And the whole game begins. So now you kind of get what goes into the windows. You get the meat and potatoes, obviously who we are. Let's get to what you really want to know, the pricing, right? So, like, how much is this going to cost? To understand pricing, you got to understand the how windows are priced. So the most commonly referred to unit of a window is a double hung or double slider. So the windows go up and down or slide left to right. The most common size is 90 UI. So whenever you read anything online, you're pretty much reading a 90 UI double hung or double slider window. UI is just width plus height. So, like, if your window's 30 wide, 30, 50 tall, 90 UI. On average in today's market, the average customer is spending anywhere between $900 up to $3,800 a window installed, right? Could be more, could be slightly less. It all depends on the size, right? Obviously, if you're doing a bay window, it's much more expensive. But if you're just doing a double hung, double slider, this is accurate. Now, question is how do those prices become those prices? So, like, let's just take a builder grade window at Home Depot or Lowe's. It's $200 a window. So let's just say I'm a subcontractor and I'm going to go install your window. I buy it, $200. We just use a third-party website. You punch in a zip code. It looks at low, mid, high of the averages of prices of things. So to replace the window for the labor, the average cost is about $470. To the job supplies to install that window is about $25. Like I showed you, we spend as much as $50. They'll spend as little as $25. Then replacing the removing of the window is $210. The removing of the debris, the disposal of it is about $13. And then you have the window cladding, which is the capping. It's about $156. On average, you buy that $200 window. Once you price and everything you need to install it, it's about $1,282 a window. Then if you're going to do molding, full frame, goes up to about $1,800. And then there's different types of window that you pick. So, like, the example we brought you through was more of like a low-end recycled vinyl window, right? Which that's like kind of like a window like I showed you before, like this. You'll spend anywhere between $800 or $900 up to $1,300 a window. We decided not to use that because you obviously limited warranties, hollow frames. It doesn't really serve the purpose of our mission. High-end vinyl is the upgrade of this. It's pure. never been used before. It's not made out of wood, so it doesn't rot, so you don't have any maintenance issues. And then you could put laminates on it if you want. You can also upgrade the glass packages. You'll spend anywhere between, $1,000 up to $2,400 a window for the 90 UI. Then you go to fiberglass and vinyl composite. This is sawdust and glue. That's what composite wood is. On the inside, vinyl on the outside. Now, why did they put vinyl on the outside? Because this is the one thing that won't rot. And then you get a nice Renewal by Anderson window with wood on the inside that is warranted for 20 years or less, right? Because eventually it's going to rot. Vinyl clad is real wood on the inside, vinyl on the outside. So not sawdust and glue, real wood, vinyl, and then 100% real wood. So like that's why if you talk to people, you'll get prices all over the place for windows. You'll spend as much as $900 all the way up to $4,500 for just one window. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then so now the last part is like, how are you going to make money if you end up doing this, right? So like there's three main ways you can make back your money with windows. The cool thing with windows is an exterior product. So like you have insulation value. My average customer saves about 20% on their energy bill once they get Thermalast windows. What that means, Mr. Jones, if you're paying $400 a month, you're going to save about $80 a month if you're my average customer, right? You might be more, you might be a little bit less, but it should be around 20%. It's not uncommon for me to save as much as 40%. Like your windows are all made out of 100% real wood. They're from like the 1950s. You probably save more than my average customer. Then there's labor. So like, are you going to ever pay to fix anything? We give you a lifetime labor warranty. Never have to do it again. And then there's how much money will someone pay you in the future because you did this project? So are you familiar with Kelley Blue Book?
Yeah.
Okay. Kelley Blue Book is like for cars, right? They basically tell you how much a car is worth and and what the fair price is. Cost versus value report is basically like the Kelley Blue Book for home improvement. If you go on here, they have the cost versus the value versus like what the recoupment is of that thing. So like they have bathrooms, they have kitchens, they have decks, they have entry doors. Like if you go online, you'll see this. The average replacement cost for a window project when they measure it is 10 90 United, white, double hung or double slider windows. So when you look at vinyl, the average consumer is spending $22,716 in the New York market, so basically the region we live in, and they're recouping back about 62%. When we look at wood, wood's more expensive, like I showed you. The average consumer is spending about $27,514. So basically $2,700 window versus $2,200. And keep in mind, this is a few years ago. This is 2023. They're recouping back 55%. Now, why do you think that a wood window recoups back less money when they go to sell the house?
It rots faster.
It rots out. And warranties aren't transferable. Vinyl, I can give a transferable warranty. Lasts much longer. It's more energy efficient. You recoup more back. Meaning if I did this project today, in 10 years when I go to sell the home, I can say, hey, my house has new windows. It's certified. Here's the warranty. Put it on the market. It's Energy Star approved. Energy bills are lower. You never have to do the project. If I go put my house on the market with wood windows, hey, I did my windows 10 years ago. They're kind of rotting. Not Energy Star approved. Nobody's going to pay me more money. Our windows on average, because of the quality they're made, we return about 70%. You're getting Energy Star approved. It's going to last for life. And it's transferable. Never miss a beat. Right? So that's how you really make back your money. And then, how are we going to pay for this? So over 70% of my customers will choose some type of payment option. We offer financing. We do credit cards. We do checks. Less than 15% of people are going to, less than 8% of people are going to use cash. Most of them are going to use some form of financing. We offer financing through Green Sky, Upgrade, Acorn, Upstart, you name it. We're very flexible. So I'll show you some options. We can see what makes sense for you. And then here's some pictures of work we've done, kind of give you perspective. And then these are some before and afters. And then the last thing I want to go over is just make sure I did my job right. So I know I covered a lot, Mrs. Edgar. Based on all that, I just have a couple questions. Make sure I did my job right. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. So based off everything I went over, I know I covered a lot. Would you say that is there any reason why you wouldn't trust us to do this project?
No, you guys seem like you know what you're doing.
Okay. And I know I covered a lot with the window, but is there anything that you didn't like about the window? Is there any reason you wouldn't feel confident with my window?
No.
What was your favorite thing about the window?
That the heat lamp.
The heat lamp?
Yeah.
Okay. So maximizing the savings. That's one of my favorite things too. And then the installation. Is there anything you felt off about the install? Anything you didn't like?
No, you guys seem like you know what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah. So then, Edgar, really, other than pricing, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to work with us?
Not really.
Okay, that makes sense. So Edgar, if you give me, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes or so, let me just put together some numbers. I'll, figure out the financing and stuff, and we'll get you some prices. So just give me a few minutes. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right, cool.